What is good, YouTube? It's Darren back here at the channel, and today I've got a Unleashed pre-release vlog style video where I go over some of my matches and the deck building process. So yeah, remember, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if it's something you want to see more of, or if it's stick to competitive stuff, because what I prefer. But if you want me to throw this in here as well, no issue doing so. So let us hop right into it. We start off with a banger, pull in the over number Vi, which is signed. Shout out. We stay getting lucky. I've had a good weekend so far off of that. And yeah, the one thing that's funny about it is like the SIG on it is like really difficult to tell. I showed like 3 different people before we all realized that it was a SIG, which is I think hilarious. So yeah, sealed, not something I have a lot of experience in. I don't really do it. I played One Piece, Hearthstone, what's the other game? I don't remember. But yeah, I played sealed like very casually over time. Like I played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's not a game that has sealed. And the fundamentals of Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't really contribute to sealed. I played like Cube in it, but again, I'm not very good at it. I don't think I'm particularly strong at limited. I think Hearthstone is the game that translates the best to it. So I've gotten Legend and Hearthstone pretty much on command for the past few years. So I think I have some basic understanding of like tempo and value and that type of stuff. So I'll give a bit of my insights onto it. But yeah, most of my knowledge of the Unleashed pre-release I got from an account called Souls on YouTube. It's an Italian gentleman. Very knowledgeable. If you have any interest in his content, would recommend it. Um, so yeah, this is kind of just like a speed run of the whole deck building process. I watched his video where he goes over some like the high quality cards in the format. I didn't go at like I didn't like watch it like as I was building. I kind of just like remembered a lot of stuff. And yeah, I got the Yi starter deck, which I think is, from my understanding, probably like the second best one. It's like all the XP cards work so well in a sealed format where like there's not a lot of removal to prevent you from resolving Hunt early on, and the payoff is like acceptable in this type of format where like +1 on all of your units is just like enough a lot of the time to win a like a value game. Um, and I also pulled Alpha Strike, which helps as well. So I pulled Alpha Strike. I pulled a second. I think the card is called Wayward Strike or something like that. The one that's like charm but stuns as well. So a few very above average cards. And then I pulled second Wujua Princess, second Moss Stomp or Herald of a Spring. Pulled Moss Stomper. Like I think my kit was effectively designed to play Yi. So very fortunate in that regard. So yeah. I throw all the stuff together. I'm trying to figure out my third color. And it ends up between purple, blue, and yellow. Yellow has a couple of nice XP cards. Same for purple. Like I pulled the purple Cossacks. I think that card's pretty above average. But you're not gonna get like as many solo combats unless you're me and don't remember to play around it. Um, so I think purple's okay. Yellow with the XP mechanics, like this card, Shepherd's Heirloom, is a 2 for 2. That you pay an XP to equip, so it's effectively like free. Um, but I didn't have too much otherwise that I felt was worth it. So yeah, here I am just like kind of organizing everything. I kind of built what I expected my main deck to be, and like I'm looking at like the third color, and then I think blue is what ends up being the best. I have I got those too quickly, unfortunately. But I have the 7 drop that does 4 or 6 drop that does 4 on Death Knell. The broken gear that plays 2 sprites, like on play and on destruction, and I think there's like another one or two. A sprite spell that plays 2 sprites. It's a 5 cost. And I think I ended up deciding that blue just the best. It gives me a little top end. Gives me some accelerate as well, which is nice in the early game. So it gets some free contests on boards, and yeah, like so. Yeah, think that's it. Like the thing I'm gonna discuss is like how to play. Like I'm gonna approach like how I've play sealed, and it's just like trying to make sure all of your cards uh acquire more value than what their play cost is. Um, so the cards that are like really above average and sealed are cards like these gears where there's not gear removal, and even just like a 1 for 2 over the course of the game can end up being whatever 5 or 6 energy worth of might or multiple points worth of value. Um, so yeah, that's kind of just the approach. I think I'm almost done with the deck building. We decide on blue, like I said. And yeah, there's also Moonlight Affliction, which is a card that I heard like kind of made fun of, which I don't think it's very good. But in terms of just like removal, like if your opponent has a bomb, it's the only card in the format outside of like I guess Starcross, which I didn't really think as was super worthwhile. Because like if they have a theoretically like a card like an Elder Drake in this format, or an Otacon, like them getting it back and being able to play it again doesn't really fix the problem. Obviously, like it could be a tempo win, but depending on how the game's playing out, you may not need the tempo. You need to actually remove it. And Moonlight Affliction has that utility. It also outs cards like Orange Rengar, which I've perceived as like a pretty strong card in the format. Um, so yeah, I think that a Scylla, oh, I'll say his card name, the one Iascala, that card also I considered a little bit. I don't think it's very bad, because holding is actually not too difficult in this game, or in this format. So here's the deck list. It's going through it. There's only 4 2 drops. I think it's like a, appropriate. Like you don't want to overplay 2 drops because the early tempo isn't super important, and you don't want to just like be dead drawing these cards late game. So most of my units are in like the 4 to 6 cost range, and a lot of them have hunt. So pretty simple. We get Alpha Strike, we get 2 Skyward Strikes, then we get Yi. And here it is for round 1. Because I did this already, I'm going to skip the round 1. This game I think is not super interesting, all things considered. The one thing that I will mention on it is I discussed with this guy after the game, and this is something that I'm new to in Riftbound, where there's like legends and champions and all this. The Diana, so he pulled the Jin and then built his deck around Diana, which is just like a better leader, just inherently. But the one thing that we discussed afterwards is like, yeah, I only used the Diana leader, I think like 3 or 4 times over the course of the match. And I was like, yeah, maybe just like having the extra card for not playing Diana is more valuable than actually playing the Diana itself. And he kind of agreed. So that's something that I would definitely look into doing in yourself, like in your own games. Like, what is the value that your legend provides? Are you actually going to be able to accrue it consistently? In a Z deck, obviously, like getting XP is just like the backbone of the deck. But like Diana, a deck like Jin, like maybe just like having that extra card that you would get off of Jin on turn 6 is just better to have in your starting hand, right? Like, so that is, I think, the approach that is a little bit better to have. All right, so this is round 2, game 2. And yeah, this is a Yi mirror match. I think this game is a little bit interesting, if I remember correctly, and like I make some interesting mistakes. So yeah, put Moonlight Affliction on the bottom. Not too much value to be had here, unless he plays like the big Yi, I guess. And if he has it, God bless. So yeah, we have Amateur Recital as our battlefield. I have that one, and then the one that you get from the E structure, which is like tap to gain XP. That was my game 1 all the time. And then third would have been a blank. So we play crowd favorite, which is hunt 1, spend 2 to buff. So pretty solid card to play in this situation. And he just plays Yi and passes. He also has Honey Fruit, which is a card that I'll kind of go over real quick. I think these cards like Honey Fruit, in sealed are just like not super valuable. Like you're getting to ramp a power over the course of a game, which I think this card's gonna see a fair amount of play constructed where you're like it's just like a seal that's like more valuable if you're playing XP. Like it can just become a ramp as well. But I don't think that like these cards that provide like you can't really like see the value like over the course of time. There's not too much power in this format. Like it's only like the really strong top end. And there's not like a lot of high value like spells that you're gonna need to spend power on. Like I can comfortably spend what's it like the Caribou Herald Springs. I can comfortably play that on 4 like pretty consistently because I'm not losing a lot of tempo. Like even if I lose 5 or 6 energy over the course of a game, then it still got me the value that I needed immediately. Of like my deck values level 6 more than it values 5 or 6 runes because those runes don't matter too much. I'm not going to play more than like 2 cards a turn. It's like a battle trick in a unit, like every turn. So yeah, that's something that I think people will learn over the course of time. Is just it's not as worthwhile to invest in like this like ramp and like value like theoretical value game. The value in this type of a game is just do your cards garner more value? And I don't think Honeyfruit does consistently enough to justify its inclusion. Like you would rather just like have units, especially in the E deck, right, where like you get so much value off of like hitting level 6 and um acquiring XP. So yeah, I pass for 2 turns because I don't want to give his units those value trades. Um, and I think I go for like a pretty big commitment here of like sending everything into recital with the intent of hitting level 6 immediately. Because he has like some guys, he has Moss Stomper and Yi, along with the backline unit. His guy is the backline that says whenever it holds buff everything here. Um, so yeah, like I need to start forcing combat. I need to hit level 6. Like that is like my number 1 priority. And I make one pretty noticeable mistake here is I equip Spectral Sword to the tank guy. It should be on most likely the crowd favorite, so I can like start like trading him and the Yi in effect like at some point and not be concerned. because this unit in a perfect world just like sits on a battlefield forever. Like I don't ever want to like force it into combat because it's shielding for 7, um, with tank, which is really strong. But like I think it being on the battlefield alone is already enough to like divert him from committing. And I don't need to give the sword to it. I would rather have the sword more flexible. As you're gonna see later, I'm gonna have to like like effectively trade my unit off of that to get it back in rotation. Yeah, so he full sends onto the other battlefield with the goal of hitting level 6 himself. He has 2 Hunt 2s with Moss Stomper and E, and then a Gromp. So if he holds this battlefield, he'll be at 12, if I remember correctly. For 11, sorry, which is the breakpoint that matters. Um, so now we use Recital to push back Crowd Favorite. We're at 6. We could spend to buff it, but I just value being on 6 way more. Like that is just like such an important breakpoint for this deck. That's just not worth it. If I had 8, obviously I would, but in this situation, not worth it. And yeah, so we're doing math on battlefield. He has 5, 4, 3, 2, so 12, 12, 5, 4, 3, 14, sorry. And I have crowd favorite plus Yi, and that is 4 plus 5 due to my leader's ability. And my plan here is just to start trading off the board. I don't like. I can't just like let him hit 11. Like at that point, like the game's pretty difficult to win. Like he's every unit he comes in just has accelerate. He can trade as effectively as he would like to. Um, so I swing in with favorites, and my goal here is just to like force off little pieces, effectively. Because in this format, we're not concerned with Draven, right? Like we can just like do whatever we need to in terms of combat. So this is, I think, how Riftbound was designed. So we play the one cost spell that is +3 whenever I have 6 XP, which obviously we do, and it's very easy to accrue in this format. So he plays back off, which pretty strong card. The one thing that I generally struggle with is visualizing my opponent's potential like plays, and especially in sealed where like I just like don't know the card pool, it makes it like even more difficult. So yeah, it's a pretty rough one. So he backs off, which is like honestly, all things considered, not that bad. Especially when I have um plenty of other resources, but like I maybe didn't need to spend the extra mana on the card. But I did guarantee that we traded off. I think we were gonna trade off Moss Stomper and the Gromp, which was the goal, or Yi plus the Moss Stomper, whichever one. So we draw Skyward Strike off of the Apprentice. I think I already had one, but this just makes life like super easy. So we can move the Gromp over, and then I can trade the Yi in. Like this is obviously where I would prefer to have had the sword on Yi or on the crowd favorite, so I could just like not have to spend the spells on this. Um, so he's tapped out. He can't do anything. So my goal here is just to like remove as much of the board as possible. Even if that unit didn't have backline, if I clear everything, then who cares what he's gonna buff? Like he's gonna buff 0 units, right? And the main goal of this entire turn is just to like stop him from accruing XP. So yeah, we just do that. We gank the E over, and we combat experience again. So now it's at 8, and we trade off Moss Stomper plus E. He's gonna be at 4, and he's gonna have 10 runes because he's whatever played Honey Fruit and whatever. But like, what does 10 runes do for you when your top end is like 3 cards worth more than 5? And yeah, like that just the I'd say like not the punish, but just like the struggle of why I think Honey Fruit is just like not worth it in a card. Like and yeah, I don't like if he had a unit and was able to like force these trades earlier, and you kind of just like go like 2-drop, I swing with a 3-drop, and he Yi's over, and then my Yi can't swing over his Yi because whatever, or I have to like spend cards to do it. The game just gets a little bit better. Like that's why going first is so strong and constructed. And the same thing happens here. So yeah, he plays Herald of Spring and Alpha Wildcat. So yeah, pretty whatever. So he's got 2 cards in hand and like a pretty big battlefield. Again, where like I just need to stop him from buffing the board and making it even bigger. And I choose to Amateur Recital, bring back the combatants, just so I need to get that sword back in rotation. We're at 8 XP. I think I forget to hold off Wuju. I don't remember if I do or not. But yeah, like we can't get to 11 this turn, so it doesn't really change that much. We play Trevor Snooze Bottom, whatever this card is. But this card's very strong. Whenever you hold, you play a sprite. So whenever you are at level 6, you are holding for 9 between it and the sprite that has shield 1. And it makes a battlefield like effectively impossible to break through without like a really big push. Like that unit alone could hold a battlefield, which is very strong, obviously. So yeah, we swing in. My Skyward Strike cleared his Alpha Wildcat, swinged in with Combatant, got my sword back in rotation, and now we're just in really solid position. We're holding one battlefield that he can effectively never break into, and we're securing XP and value off of Trevor, and we can recital over like it's effectively like a fight or flight to or gank, I guess, however you like to look at it. So I have access to that battlefield off of whatever I hold with every turn. So if I draw like a Grop or something, I can get the 3 XP and then move it over. My deck doesn't have anything over 11 XP, so it doesn't really change it much, but that's something that could be accomplished in this position. Um, and yeah, he plays Shepherd's Heirloom, which is like very strong experience card. But for him, it's just like a little bit too little too late. Like he has one card in hand. This is where a card like Concentrate would be like really valuable if he played it. It's not a card that I included. I was just like, I'm just gonna tempo out early, hit 6 XP, and then just let my units be more valuable than your like my opponents. Like it's in a world where like they're not playing E, obviously. Um, you could probably argue that like if you wanted to make side deck adjustments for the mirror match, you would include cards like Concentrate. That way you can, um, yeah, just like make sure that you are getting enough cards that match theirs because like the additional value you would be acquiring off of your leader are not there anymore because they're playing the same leader as you, right? So probably something that I could have done. I think I only made like one or two side deck adjustments. It was just like adjusting units that I thought were better after playing a little bit more. Um, so yeah, that is I think all she wrote for this game. Think I'm holding at like 5 this turn. So over the course of 2 turns, I will be in a really comfortable position. The one mistake I did make is the Soul Sword should be equipped to the whatever the 2 drop. It would be at like 6 and pretty difficult for him to interact with. Um, and again, like all my guys that come in are now ready, so I can just like equip the sword to whatever I play and send it in. Like it's not an issue to equip here. So yeah, he sends this, he Kha'Zix, so he gains XP off of this. So like yeah, again, just like at a minimum, I could like trade with the Kha'Zix, which is something that would be nice. So yeah, bit of a mistake for me here. I'm definitely not the cleanest and limited, and over the course of time, I will improve. Most of my background in like this type of a game comes from Hearthstone, which is where I've spent a fair amount of time over the years. Um, so he chooses between playing it up and back, and he's probably supposed to play it up honestly because like he's never cracking into this battlefield and left. Um, like I got Woodrow printed like a Soul Sword, and I'm at level 11, so everything I play is ready, and I can just like send it up into that battlefield. And he's at 4, and if I remember correctly, I'm at 6, and I can hit 7 points off of conquering this battlefield. And if I conquer, he's gonna have like one. He has nothing in hand right now, so he'll just have Herald plus whatever he draws, and there's like not enough to break that. So yeah, we've got what is this? Wily Newfish plus whatever, a bunch of big guys and a sword that I'm gonna keep equipping. So yeah, we can just send the sword as aggressively as we need to break through. And I send it in duplicate so Kha'Zix doesn't get multiple units worth of value. Yeah, it trades everything in. This dies. I can equip the Soul Sword to my guy, and then we just call it a day. Yeah, because I'm at 7. Yeah. And this is going to be the last one. This is round 3. We're 2-0. We get pack per win, and then if we win, go on a feed, we get a 4th. So 2 packs on the line here. And this is, I think, game 1. So he's playing no champion and just Nyla as a chosen champion, which for his deck, if I remember correctly, is just like a red-blue deck. And it's just like an accelerate, overrate unit. So can't like for sealed pretty solid. So this looks like game 1 because I have Gardens of Becoming. Lead with the Woodrow Apprentice, and this is where I think I finally start realizing that being more conservative is better. This is something I already understood from like Hearthstone, just like value trades and whatever. Like I was never going to send out my unit here into Gardens, unless I play something along with it, which I think is what I end up deciding to do. You can choose to either play Yi or Herald here, and like I said, like you're not there's not like a big adjustment either way. But the math on it currently is like if I play Herald, I get 2, and then Wuju plus Herald next turn will get me to 4. And then if I play Yi plus um, Wuju, I like wait a turn, conquer, I'd be up to 3, plus the Herald 1 or 2 on play would be 5. So it doesn't actually change the math too much because like the big breakpoint is 6. Um, so yeah, I just want to play Herald. I think Yi is just a little bit more valuable as like a ganker. to overcommit with early. But obviously, like paying the power, it can be a little bit dicey. But yeah, so he plays, I forgot the name of his card, Sprite Burst maybe, where you just like play two sprites. And this is a position where I think people make some mistakes in sealed, where he's going to be up points, but like the way that I look at like health points, life points in Yu-Gi-Oh, like until like they're at like a breaking point, they don't really matter. Like him being at 0 or 2 here means literally nothing. And until like 0 to 6 points in a lot of situations doesn't matter. Obviously there are exceptions. Like you have to look at some decks that can like we'll say like Annie ride the wind in set one. Like that deck could just do it over the course of 2 turns. So like the Annie breakpoint was like maybe 4 points. And like aggro decks obviously have a different math, but in general I look at life and points very generously. Like I'll give away points for the value that I'm going to accrue over the course of time. And him spending a card for 2 points um is not like I don't really care that much personally. Because I'm just going to over the course of time accrue more value off of my hunts and my V. Like that sprite burst, like for me to view that card as valuable, which is like I play it because I think it's solid, but it needs to like trade over a unit to acquire a point and get that value of like trading for him or trading like over a card that the sprite's swing into. Um, so that would be my personal approach to how I like use that card in the game. Because I think I play it in my deck. I don't remember if I played in this game, but I'm not just gonna like jam it out early to like tempo out points. I'm gonna try and acquire value off of the card. So here we play Yi and Herald to try and hold. So we hold here. We are at 6, which is the first like legitimate threshold. Like honestly, 11 doesn't even matter that much in this deck. 6 is like what actually matters because you get +1 on all your units. Mastery experience becomes like a relevant card. All of your 2 drops have additional effects. Like that is 6 is like the most important breaking point in my deck. Um, 3 is obviously important because I get the +1 on Soul Sword, but 3, 6, and then 11 just like you're winning the game at that point anyway, so who really cares? So he tanks for a while here and ends up committing pretty hard to clearing my Yi because he's probably supposed to. Because if I get to 6, the game's pretty difficult for him. But I think it is still difficult, right? Like you're sacrificing a fair amount of cards, which is why I think investing so much into this battlefield is okay. Like there are cards that punish. Like I get punished pretty hard by like a square up. If any like he discards. But in terms of like the cards amount that he invests, it's 2 to get a point, and then I will just be able to equip sword to Wuju Apprentice, swing over his guy, and just be like I think neutral in card, maybe favored in that trade. Um, and yeah, so he plays Arena Kingpin to force the trade into the E, which I'm content with. Like he's like this soul sword just like acquires so much value. Like that card just forced that trade to be neutral instead of him getting more out of it. Potentially if he had like another card. And this is another card. If I remember correctly, that card like taps itself to like give a mana. So it's similar to the honey fruit. I just don't think the value that card acquires over the course of the game is worth it. You would just rather have like a 2 drop for 2 that like is hard to out. Like you want to like you can't just allow me to like walk over your unit. Obviously, it's never to move it up, but like, does that card give you enough value, especially in a sealed format where if you don't draw it very early and you don't have a lot of like ways to like go through your deck, like there's no stack deck or like we'll say call shot, like there's no way to like dig through your deck to like get the combo pieces you need. Like if you just draw this card on turn 3, like are you gonna get the value over the course of the game to justify its inclusion? And the answer is probably not. So we Skyward Strike as Arena Kingpin just to clear that guy. That is a card that I think can accrue value over the course of the game. Which is like a Heart of Dark Ice on the legs. But Heart of Dark Ice is a card I think would be worth way more than both in this situation. Like that card stick gear, so it's really hard to out. Obviously, I was able to Skyward Strike as Kingpin, so it didn't stick around very much. So yeah, we're up to 6 now off of our Rudra Princesses and Caribou. And yeah, we're in a fantastic position. Especially against a spell deck where like their goal is to remove and like generally like, gain value off of the spells and like when I just have bigger units and they have spells, like they have to spend multiple cards to out my units, and you just don't have that level of card economy in this format. So he plays an 8 for 8 that restands 2 every time a dragon is played. So pretty solid card. Like this is the type of value card that I think in limited could be worthwhile including because it's just like a big guy that also does value things. Um, So yeah, I don't know if he has any other dragons in his deck, but like that alone is just like whatever. On 8 mana, you just played a 6 for 8, which is solid. Um, so yeah, that is he daily flourishes, and he's only able to pop like a 2 drop of mine off of that, which is like really disappointing from just like a gameplay perspective. Like I spent 4 mana to kill his 2 drop. Like that is a negative trade. Obviously, we're at a point in the game where that amount of mana doesn't really matter that much, but just like conceptually, and that is the problem with this situation. Because yeah, my guys are just like in the hunt mechanic in constructed. I think definitely has a lot of flaws in it. Um, I just because it's way less likely for hunt to resolve consistently and like winning combats to get to level 6 and 11 or whatever. And like also the payoff whenever you reach those points in constructed, I think is not high enough to justify the sacrifices you're making in the early game. But in constructed, where everything's like less accessible, less consistent, and just like lower power level overall, XP is fantastic. Like you're just gonna get +1 on all units, and that alone is just worth the price of investment. Because even if I'm down like 4 or 5 points in the early game, like that one break point, like that one breakthrough, or like theoretically, like I play a Gromp and like I just like swing over a battlefield and I get like 6 XP off one combat, like that alone can just like swing me back in the game. And yeah, so here we're in a spot. I think I'm gonna move my camera over here slightly. I'm gonna probably like in the future like start a tracker or on here so I can have a better understanding of the points. So here it is 5-3. And we'll go back to the board state when I withdrew because generally I'm pretty comfortable holding because I have like cards that are like pretty valuable and off of holds. Like I've got a shield guy and card that gets value off of holding, like plays a token every turn. Yeah, so we're at 5 to his 3 here, and this is again even after he played that sprite burst to get 2 points early. It just like isn't enough over the course of the game to matter. Like he could be at 1 here or 3. It doesn't change a single thing, right? So here we are. I've got like a bunch of units in hand, and I'm at 5 points. So is like this is the point where you just like choose to withdraw, right? Because holding is generally valuable, but he has a card that requires 0 card investment to like clear my board. And I could like try and stack up battlefield, but there's just like no reason to do that, right? Like I can just like do this again for free next turn. Like I've already acquired the points on the battlefield, so I don't acquire value off of holding, so I just withdraw, and then we'll deal with it again next turn. Because he's the one that's now under the tempo pressure of, okay, like I have to actually start acquiring points slash stop him from getting points. So it's like what he's doing is correct. Like if I commit all this guy to a battlefield, then it is difficult for him to win. Or like I'm like trying to win the game in that regard, right? But now the problem becomes he has an 8 for 8, and he only acquired off of his 6 mana spent, well because of its effect, 1 point. Like he didn't actually kill any additional cards off of combat. Um, yeah, like and he got annihilate here, right? Like this is all like he's acquiring points. I think it's 5 to 5 now. So cool. But like I'm still a turn ahead. I have so much in the back. I've got cards in hand. I think he's got 3 cards in hand. He's got a lot of mana up. But like I have I'm forgetting the word. Like I have the tempo advantage. Like I'm now he's the one on the back foot. Like he's the one forced to be defending when I have complete control over the game from his position. So he's got whatever 7 mana. It looks like 8 mana. Um, but he has to be the one defending and I'm the one attacking. So even if we're comparable in points, or like let's say he's even, like we're 5 to 5 or 5 to 5 is what matters. But like I'm the one that is in complete control of the game because I now get to like theoretically I could choose to just clear one battlefield and just like not do anything. I could choose to try and conquer both and just like hold both. But like I'm not forced to do anything special here. I have complete agency over the game, and that is like the value that tempo can get you. But as you saw, like he did that play early where he played Sprite Burst, got both Battlefield, and it still wasn't enough to get in the game. So maybe that card trying to swing over some of my guys at some point and get the points would have been a little bit more valuable in this game. So now we got Soul Sword. Like obviously, I'll say I think my deck is just like better and constructed and limited than his is. So I don't think he's making like egregious like gameplay errors, but I think that's something to be mindful of whenever you're playing limited. So he plays this card that's 1 for 1, and if you have a hidden, it deals 4. And I don't know if it was like super intentional on my part, but I like played around a lot on accident. So Moss Stomper is at 5 due to being level, it's either 3 or 6, plus E. So it's 3 naturally, plus 4 from its effect, plus 5 from E, and then plus 2 from the spell. So that's the gear. So that's 7. So that's going to deal 4 to it. It also has deflect. So playing around a lot here. The deflect I was definitely aware of, but the 7 threshold was not something I was super cognizant of. So that deals 4. The set is going to be a hidden that like on play deals 2. And I'm just like gonna value trade it's like the utmost degree. So I'm gonna have 6 damage on my 7 health unit, and he's gonna have 6 health worth of units here. So yeah, he's gonna deal whatever 2 damage, and yeah, just trade everything for free. Like all of his cards that he like this one Moss Stomper plus will include Soul Sword, which has accrued value over the course of the game, traded with card in hand, hidden, unit on board. And that unit on board did not trade over anything. It just got 1 point. So this singular Moss Stomper acquired like what 6 or 7 mana worth of value on its own. And obviously you're going to accrue the Soul Sword in there, but that's just like what the passive value of something like Wuju, Master Yi, and Soul Sword accomplish for you. So here I'm at 6. I can choose to just like not do anything, but I think trying to swing over his A drop is just worth it because then he just like doesn't have cards. Like he has 2 cards in hand right now, and we're just in a comfortable position. I've got like 8 runes up. And ironically, I actually flipped my rune over, which I generally never do, but it's like sealed, and I don't have a lot of resources on me right now. He plays Thrill the Hunt to move his guy over, so we resolve the combat. I go up to 7 to hold, and then the one reason why I felt comfortable doing this because I had Moonlit Affliction in my hand. So it's like okay, even if he does something like really silly, I can still like always win this combat. Like I think there's anything in his deck can do. So he throws the hunted over, and then I just like kill it. um, so that just like ends the game on the spot. Like he's gonna have one card, draw to 1, and then I just have like guys, and he can't out them. So I wasn't even gonna use them in that affliction if he swung, or like if he just like did nothing. I was gonna let my guy trade off and just like hold it for next turn. So that way I could like play a guy and moonlit it in if I needed to. Because I didn't anticipate him able to break both. I was also just gonna like hold up 7 to like if he tries to like crack through. So that was the plan. So yeah, that is about it. I don't think I've got anything else. Yeah. So yeah, this was cool. I'm not big on Seal. I'm still very much a competitive constructor player. I really enjoy deck building. This was a nice experience. I'll probably do it again at some point for set 4 or whatever. I don't think I'm gonna do too much more in this format. So yeah, we'll leave it on that. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know any like competitive Unleashed stuff you're interested in seeing. If you want to see like deck profiles or gameplay stuff, because I'm kind of open to whatever. I got into Hartford as a creator, and I'm going to be playing that in the main events. So hopefully I'll be able to do some content for that. Let me know what you're interested in seeing. Leading up to that, I'll probably vlog it a little bit. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.